Hi guys, today I'll be showing you a new feature we've developed called deployment targets. So we all know that when we deploy to production, we want to have full control over who deploys what and when, and these need to be like highly regulated environments. So we also want to have like an overview of our deployments and our deployment history. And this is precisely why we've developed this new feature called deployment targets. And right now I'm going to show you a demo of what this new feature offers. So let's get started. So here I have like initial pipeline that basically deploys WordPress plugin. So this pipeline is totally fake. We aren't deploying any plugins here. But we have like three promotions set up, and that is deploy to production, deploy to staging, and deploy to WordPress directory. So in our case, deploy to staging is something that is like auto-promoted, while deploy to production and deploy to WordPress directory are like things that we want to trigger on our own, and we want to like have the ability to give permissions to people who want to do that as well. And that is where deployment targets come in. So if we go to a separate tab into deployments, this is the part where we create our deployment target. We can go and click here, create your first deployment target, and we can name the target here. So we can name it anything we want. But to keep like things in order and concise, I'm going to name it deploy to WordPress directory. And okay, we can set an optional description here. So and we can go to the next step now. And here is also one feature of deployment targets. So we can add our environment variables and our secrets here if we want to. But right now we don't have any, and these can be limited to deployment targets. So this is like another extra layer of security for you. And here we can like say, I don't know, plugin key, and this can be like our secret here. So here at the next step, we can specify who can actually trigger this promotion and deploy. And here we can set either roles or people. So here I'm going to set myself. And I'm not going to allow automatic promotions from target, which means that someone will need to trigger the deploy manually. And that someone will be me, because only I will have access to this. So next, we can also like set limits for which branches and tags can trigger this. In our case, I'm just going to leave all here the same as it is, and I'm going to click create now. And now we can see that, okay, this is our first deployment target. And I'm going to create a new deployment target, another one, because I also want to have a separate one for deploying to production. So for instance, let's like create a new one as well. So deployment to production. And okay, going next, adding just a sample environment variable. And I'm going to not set me here. I'm going to set another member of our team and also disable automatic promotions from target. So next, and create. And now we have two deployment targets set up, and you can see that deployment to production can only be triggered by the member of my team who is Alex, while deployment to WordPress directory can only be triggered by me. And how do we add like deployment targets to our workflows? So let's go back to our configuration and we can click on edit workflow. And let's set, so deploying to WordPress directory, here we have this deployment target that we can set. And we can see, let's set this to deploy to WordPress directory. And this is basically all we need to do. We can also pass parameters here, but we're not going to be doing this in this example. And this is basically it. So, okay, we've set this to deploy to WordPress directory. And now we can also go like to the production one and also set the target to deployment to production. we won't be enabling auto promotion. So, okay, let's update our configuration now and basically see what happens. So as said, with this, we can basically limit who can trigger our promotions and when, and this gives us an extra layer of security over our deployments. And we also have like a basic history overview, which I'm going to show soon. And you can see, okay, the deployment went through, the deployment to staging is auto-promoted, and you can see right now in this interface here that I don't have rights to deploy to the deployment to production target because only Alex has the permissions to do so. So I can't trigger the deployment to production once the build is finished. But what I can do, I can deploy to the WordPress directory and I can click here and trigger the deploy and start the promotion and things start moving. And as said, this gives us an extra layer of security, which is really nice and gives us like more power over who can trigger deployments and when. And we can basically like go back to our deployment targets interface, refresh this a bit, and you can see that we have an overview of our deployments here. The latest deployment was run by me 19 seconds ago, and we can basically see our whole history here. And we also have the ability to deactivate our deployment targets, which means that we cannot deploy anything at all, even if we have permissions. So for instance, we can click here, deactivate, and people won't be able to deploy. This is quite useful when doing production freezes or stuff like that. And it enables us to have like a greater control of our workflow and everything. So I encourage you to try this feature out. The feature is available in our non-free plans, so startup and scale up. And you can write to us, give us suggestions. So please test it out because you can see that it really gives you like a great overview of your deployment history. Plus, you can also like limit who can trigger your deployments and when.